Hey YTPC, Monty 53 here. Happy Easter. Happy Easter Sunday to you. We made it. I hope you're all having a good day today. I hope you're healthy and doing fine. My family's doing fine. It's going to be different with this day like today, having to celebrate just with my wife and 3 children. Normally we have a big family get together with my parents, my brothers, my sister, cousins, aunt and uncle. But this year, just like everybody else, we're going to celebrate at home. Going to try something new. We are going to smoke a ham with some apple wood later on today. I cooked the family the Easter breakfast this morning out on the deck. But I'm gonna cook the ham tonight. We have some of my mom's potato salad. She did stop by last night and dropped off potato salad and presents for the family. You know, making the best of it. So take care of some housekeeping. This, actually, I'll flip it that way, is a Nording pipe. Isn't she a beauty? And in it, smoking some of that, what is that, Carolina Red Flake, that new small batch. I'm highly recommending this. Just got it this week, and it's pretty darn good. I think I'll go through this jar pretty quick. With this quarantine, yesterday I came up with a project in my here in my workshop. I had mentioned that some of my hobbies, right behind me are a bunch of oils, olive oils and some distilled water and lye and all that stuff. My wife and I make bars of soap. One of my other hobbies is building golf clubs and regripping them and stuff. I've been doing that for about 20 years. I love golf. It's also a tough weekend because this is usually the weekend of the Masters, my favorite, of course, tournament of the year. And it looks like they might postpone it. I guess they're going to have it in November. That's what I saw on the Masters website. So, you know, usually my tradition is Easter. I love Easter, being Christian, Catholic, everything like that. And the Masters. One of the other hobbies I have, I don't think I mentioned it in my introduction, is I also reload or hand load rifle ammunition. There's no gunpowder in here. It's all locked up in a different place. So, you know, because I'm sitting here having a pipe, but that's someplace else. And then, of course, I never smoke in here when I have it. So just wanted to make that clear. But yesterday, one of the things I did is I had a little fun. Another hobby I have is working on archery equipment. And actually back here you can see that's my bow press to work on my bows and my daughter's bows and all that stuff. But I cut my own arrows and work on them. And I had some old arrows, aluminum arrows. I'm thinking, you know, what could I do with an old arrow? Well, I took a natural tee, golf tee. For now, I'm going to use nails next time. I don't have the nails until, you know, we can go to the hardware store. But made a little pipe tamper. Well, it's more than a little. The reason why I cut it this long is for parts of it, it's got Easton written on it, and it's got a really nice what camouflage is that? This is Mossy Oak Breakup. So I can just pull back, and one of my loves is archery. I don't know what I would do for a golf club. I guess I could take an old shaft and cut it and put a head on the end of it. I don't know. maybe put a grip and just no head. And since I hand load, I took an old spet brass. You can see the I'm leaving the oh, come on, Tony. Anyways, I'm leaving that in. It's been used, the primer. There we go. It's been spent. No powder. I punctured a hole in it, and I reseated a bullet. This is a 223. And even that, I can use as a tamper. Something to do. That was a little thing yesterday to keep me from getting bored. What I plan on doing is with the spent leftover arrows, maybe I'll spend the money and get inserts for here to put the knock on top, that plastic piece. I've got a Fletcher. I could put the feathers back on. I'm going to cut this in half and make mini, smaller tampers. I'm going to take some up to the deer camp this year and hand them out to the guys when they're smoking their pipes, so we can be at deer camp with some arrow tampers. I don't know, geek. But I gotta find something to do while in quarantine besides working. You know, I again, I'm thankful I get to work from a desk here, but man, putting in 10 hours a day, and I got to do something creative. So that's my new little hobby project. Okay, so what I wanted to do was talk about a couple stories. I apologize for my throat. A couple stories, being Easter and being an Italian Catholic. I thought I'd tell you two quick stories about life at a parish that I belonged to years ago as a kid. And one of the stories is when I was an altar boy, and the other story was when I went to confession. So, altar boy. Growing up, one of the big things, being a boy in a Catholic church, when you make your first communion. Today it's different. They're called altar servers because young ladies are allowed to serve as well. But back in the day, at least in our church, we were altar boys. They wouldn't allow the girls to be servers. So my two brothers were altar servers, and being the little guy, I wanted to join them. So one of the things you get to do when you make your first Holy Communion, you're around 8 years old, is you can become an altar boy. And that's where the boys are up there helping the priest with chores, but serving them to help them with the communion and different things. You have different projects or different responsibilities you have to do during Mass. Well, to speed up, so I'm an altar boy. And we would serve usually every weekend. And some weekends you take off and just go to Mass. At the time, our priests, we had 3 priests. Father Kreff was the head. Father Benici from Malta. And then Father Joe. And I don't know Father Joe's last name. I don't know if I could even pronounce it. I'm not trying to be mean. Father Joe was directly from Poland. And mind you, my wife's Polish, so I'm not trying to be mean or nothing like that. So please, I apologize. But if I'm sounding that way. But Father Joe was very monotone. He didn't have a big sense of humor like Father Kraft and Father Benici. They were, always funny, lively. Father Joe was old school. And even though Father Benici came from Malta, directly from there, he still had a sense of humor, and he was lively and all that. But Father Joe just seemed like he was an older guy, just, in his ways, nothing against him. But it just was tough serving, being an altar boy during Mass. Because you'd be there and you're like, who's the priest? Oh, no, Father Joe. And it wasn't to be mean. It was just like, oh, he likes certain things a certain way. And I don't know if he was in the military or not. It was just different. I call it old school. Well, my brother Ben and I were serving one day, And this incident happened where, at the point where they bring the gifts or communion, when at the time the ushers would be going around getting the tithing, they would hand out the tithing baskets. When that would happen, we would prep the altar with a stand, the microphone, and maybe some other items when they would before they brought the gifts up, which was the bread, the wine, the tithing, all that. They would come up with it, and we would help Father bring it up onto the altar before all the Eucharist ministers would come up and start helping too. One of the things we had to do was move this small stand up onto the altar, and the other server would bring the book that the priest would use during Mass. There's a name for it, and I feel bad. I can't remember. But anyways, they would set the book down. And my job that day was to bring the stand up. Mind you, I'm like 8 or 9 years old, and my brother's 2 years older than me. He had the book. Father Joe's back there, so you're getting nervous because you want to do it right. This guy never laughed. This guy was always serious business. Well, I take the stand up there, put it on the altar, and the microphone's right there. Ugh. Well, next thing you know, my brother's like, no, turn it the other way. So I turn it, flip it or something. No, the other way. Do it the other way. So we have a scene up at the altar. And my brother's like, no, turn it. No, you got it the other way. And finally I got frustrated, took the stand and went, boom! You do it. And I stood back, caused a scene at the altar, probably picked up on the microphone and blasted the whole or everybody at church. My brother's like, fine, you idiot. And he takes it, sets it down, straightens it out. Oh, I'm like, oh, that's how it's supposed to be. And then he takes the book. He's like, get out of here, moron. Let's go. So we had to go do our other chores. So, not being the best altar boy, and yet being young, you're like, oh, crap. We're going to get ripped after Mass by Father Joe because he's by the book, no sense of humor, nothing. So Mass goes the rest of the way. We do fine, blah, blah, blah. We end up, at the end, my mom comes up, and you're like, oh, here we go. We're dead. Mom heard us. She's like, hey, what was going on up at the altar with you guys? We're like, oh, this is what happened. She goes, oh, because Father Joe was back there laughing his butt off. Well, there you go. We made Father Joe laugh by having a scene in front of the parish up at the altar. I hope you like that story. That was just a quick one. I wanted to do a couple church-type stories, being Easter Sunday and all. So the next one, confession. I think it's 2 years after confession, around 4th grade, is when back in the day, because I think they do reconciliation now before communion, when you make your first communion, at least at our church, the new church, or today's modern day church. Reconciliation is known as confession. I don't know if anybody else does it, where you go in every so often and you confess your sins to the priest or to God and they're forgiven. So I made my reconciliation. Now, at this point, you go to I don't know if it was a full Mass, but it was a reconciliation Mass. And at the end, if I remember correctly, it was at the end of Mass. I don't think it was during, it was at the end. They had multiple priests, and they would go into multiple confessional rooms, and then the church could disperse whoever came in that to reconciliation, and you would go to the rooms. Well, the head priest told everybody where they're going to be in the confessionals, and right away, my mom picks the room where the head priest is that did Mass or reconciliation that day. And she said, Tony, go first. So she points at me and says, go. And I'm like, oh, man, I got to see that. Okay. And I'm up to bat first. At the time I was, 10 or 11? Major sins have I... Well, I won't go there. But, so anyways, I go in. I'm up to bat first. So I go in the room. My mom and everybody is sitting outside the room, and there's other people by the other priests and stuff, or their rooms. And my mom's talking to a friend of the parish or whatever, these ladies. I'm the first one up the bat. Remember, I'm in the room. Next thing you know, my mom's talking to her friend, and she's like, wait a minute, hold on. I hear Tony. Oh, by the way, that's my name, Tony. I don't think I ever introduced my name. I was just Monty53. She goes, I hear Tony. Is he out already? And she's listening. She's like, and I hear Father. What's going on? How could he be that fast? And then she went, uh-oh. I get done with confession. I come out of the room. And my mom's like, Tony, tell Father's microphone's on. We could hear everything over the whole, the whole system. I'm like, I go back in. Father, turn off your mic. Your mic's on. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks. So my confession, thank God I was only 10 or 11, got broadcasted to everybody. And not one of those ladies or the adult men thanked me for being the sacrifice on that one and taking one for the team. Because could you imagine some of those confessions being broadcasted to the whole church? I was always taught that confession was between you and God. But my confession is between the priest, God, and the whole parish that day. And no thank yous. So I know these aren't like the Swamp Witch stories or Big and Nasty, but I thought you might enjoy from a Italian Catholic point of view boy, from being an altar server and going to confession, some of these funny stories. But I hope you enjoy your Sunday. I hope you enjoy your time with your family. I hope you're healthy and doing fine. I'm just going to sit back today, enjoy my pipe, get the ham ready, put it in the smoker, and get ready for another Monday coming. But you all take care, and we will see you next week. Bye.